Guys, what's up? What's up? What's up? This is DB talking now. DB talking birds. DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. Happy Monday, everyone. Quite a few things that I want to get into. We're going to talk about the Colts. We're going to talk about the Packers. We're going to talk about the Washington football team and the Philadelphia Eagles. First and foremost, guys, but big breaking news, obviously, Jalen Hurts has been removed from the injury report, and so has Miles Sanders, and so has Jordan Howard. So it looks like all three players are going to play on Tuesday against the Washington football team. So that that in and of itself is good news, I guess. I said in my previous stream, uh, I'm pretty much convinced that Jalen Hurts is not going to be the guy moving forward, but I do still think that it's good that he's going to be able to get to go on Tuesday against the Washington football team, because we still want to see what he can do, and still want to see what he is moving forward. Birdman, what's up, my man? What's good? I'm all good. How are you doing? Other things that I want to talk about, obviously, there's the seven assistant coaches out for Washington for this Tuesday game, and Andre Dillard, backup left tackle, obviously, as we know, has been placed on the COVID list for the Philadelphia Eagles. So this is one of those things that we've been kind of talking about ever since that we found out that they were moving the Eagles-Washington game. Is what happens if the Eagles start to get players on the COVID list between then and Tuesday? And what are you going to do? Are you going to move the game? Are you going to move the game back? Are you going to move the game back again if the Eagles start to place players on the COVID list? Well, I don't have an answer for that. So, hopefully the list is just Andre Dillard. Obviously, my heart goes out to him. I hope he gets better soon, but hopefully it doesn't, spread throughout the locker room, and we're not running into another situation. We're not running into a situation where it gets horrible for the Philadelphia Eagles, because we've been doing a great job of keeping the COVID under wraps in our organization. So, Birdman says, nervous about tomorrow. I am and I'm not. I am and I'm not. I know that Montez Sweat is going to play. Jonathan Allen's going to play now. So the only thing that kind of makes me nervous about this game against the Washington football team is probably the fact that Montez Sweat and Jonathan Allen have been activated. They are going to play. I'm not afraid of this secondary. I was watching Birdman says, just shared your live on Twitter. Awesome. Thank you, dude. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know that in the Washington football team versus the Philadelphia Eagles preview on NFL Network, they were talking about how the secondary for the Washington football team has been playing great and how they picked off Dak twice. No, they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything extraordinary against Dak Prescott last week. Dak Prescott played horrible last week against the Washington football team, and that ball that he threw to linebacker Hoffman or whatever his name was a horrible throw. He should have never thrown that ball. And I bring that one up specifically because that's the one that's in the highlights. He shouldn't have thrown that ball, and it was crazy because I was watching the game. I was watching the game with my stepfather, and Dak escapes the pocket, and I say, and like his wide receiver was open behind the linebacker. And if he put a little bit more touch on the ball, it probably wouldn't have been intercepted because the linebacker Hoffman was underneath. But what does Dak do? Dak side armed it, And so, of course, your pass is going to come out a little shallow. And yeah, the linebacker is going to be able to pick it off. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So, Dak played horrible last week. The Washington football team defense, I mean, yeah, they got 2 picks. That's good. That's good for them. But I'm not ready to give their secondary, any outstanding kudos. Birdman says, shared to Facebook as well. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. Birdman, I'm nervous about Jalen. Yeah, I'm nervous about Jalen too. Here's the thing, and I think obviously it has to do with this, which is the last game that we saw Jalen on the field was the New York Giants game, and that was the last thing that we were expecting from Jalen, and it's kind of like, okay, he's building up, he's getting better, and then you just shit the can by having a game like that where you go all the way back to step one. And what does that result in? Well, that results in inconsistency, right? So it's like and so then you're forced into this mindset of like, okay, what Jalen Hurts are we going to get this week? Right. So here's the thing. Obviously, if you remember, leading up to the Jets game, we weren't sure if Jalen was going to go or not. And there was a lot of like little chirps here and there, a lot of birds chirping here and there. If Jalen doesn't look good against the Jets, I think it was if Jalen, no, maybe it was this game. But if Jalen didn't look good in the first half of this, doesn't look good in this first half of this game, what do? Do they pull him? So that's the thing. And maybe they'll do that, but it all depends on what they want to do in the front office. Like, are they actually focused on getting the playoffs? I think that they are. I think that they want to get to the playoffs. I think that that's their mindset. Birdman says Dallas is okay, not that great, beating backup quarterbacks. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Dallas. I think that their defense is going to be good for a long time, as long as they can hold it together. I don't know what's going on with Dak. It's interesting because, I think that Dak Prescott, obviously, he is the leader of that football team. He is the leader of that offense. And when he has games like the last few weeks, it really begs the question, well, how good is he really? When the thing is, we see Dak Prescott, the version of Dak Prescott at the beginning of every single season, and he looks like a superhero. He looks like an all-worlder. Right. And I hate saying that because I'm obviously I'm born in Philly, diehard Eagles fan. I hate saying anything complimentary about Dak Prescott, but I don't hate Dak Prescott. And then he has the last few games, and it's like, well, what are we seeing now, Dak? So, I think it's the inconsistency, and I've said this before in previous streams. I think it's the inconsistency that they run into. I think it's the inconsistency that they run into that causes them to have late season struggles. Jerry Jones came out on the radio the other day and publicly said Dak Prescott is struggling. Like, it's like, do you really need to say things? It's like the entire apparatus, right? That's the issue with the Dallas Cowboys. It's the entire apparatus. It's your owner saying too much. It's your owner doing all this shit. It's your team. Your team offensively is inconsistent. Your team as a whole becomes inconsistent. And so, and now we're starting to experience that with the Cardinals, right? We're starting to experience that with the Cardinals. And I had a beautiful thought. Brandon, Birdman says 951. Birdman 951 says, any word on Brandon Brooks or Jordan Howard? Have not heard anything on Brandon Brooks. Jordan Howard is a go. Jalen Hurts, Jordan Howard, and Miles Sanders are a go for Tuesday's game. So I'm fucking stoked about that. Absolutely stoked. I mean, that's the thing. Is I'm nervous about Jalen Hurts being back on the field, but I mean, you have those 3 guys on the field, and the run game is gonna be tough. The run game is going to be tough. Birdman says, I don't think they will pull him. I feel they will let him sink or swim. So this offseason will be very intriguing. Yeah, I think I mean that's a good point. That's a good point. Here's the thing about Jalen Hurts is he has proven that he has that ability to lead. He has the personality to lead, but the on-field stuff isn't all there yet. And so that's kind of what we're looking for. That's that final stocking stuffer that you're that you're hoping for on Christmas Day. You know what I mean? So my personal opinion is I think that they're going to take a real shot at Kenny Pickett. I think that they're going to take a real shot at Kenny Pickett. So Birdman says, if we lose to Washington, I will be infuriated. Yeah, I mean, I'll be infuriated. I'll be infuriated also. We shouldn't lose to this team. We shouldn't lose to this team at all. I mean, here's the thing is we shouldn't have lost to the Giants. We shouldn't have lost to the Giants. Plain and simple. If we didn't lose to the Giants, we would be 7-6 right now, and we would have the playoff spot already. And then we would be talking about beating the Washington, and then we would have beaten the Jets, and then we would be talking about beating the Washington football team and being 8-6, and we would be separating ourselves from the other teams in the NFC. You know what I mean? For that 7th spot. So, that's the thing. And that brings it back to what version of Jalen are we going to get on Sunday, or what version of Jalen are we going to get on game day? See, I had to correct myself there because we're playing on Tuesday this week. What a load of baloney, right? Oh man. I want to get into the COVID stuff. I don't there's so many different angles. I don't know where to start with the COVID stuff when it comes to this week. Yeah, let me think about it. But yeah, I think here's what I think. I think that they have to come out. They have to come out and they have to run the ball successfully, obviously, as they've been doing, and stay true to their identity. They cannot ask Jalen Hurts to do anything other than what he did during our winning streak with Jordan Howard leading the way. That's plain and simple. Birdman says Jalen has to make simple reads. I saw Minshew play and it looked pretty easy, some of his plays he made. And I asked myself, why isn't Jalen doing that? And how long must we wait? We shouldn't wait at all. That's the thing. That's my biggest issue is we shouldn't have to be waiting at all. They are simple reads. And I think that's the thing too. I think we got hyped up over Gardner because Gardner was making simple reads. And so there was a feeling of elation because it was like finally we can see a quarterback make a throw that makes sense. And it was much more of relief than it was actually outstanding play from the quarterback. We just happened to see a quarterback play the quarterback position well. And so because we haven't seen it for a very long time, the reaction was a bit overplayed. But yeah, Jalen needs to be able to make quick, simple reads. And he cannot make quick, simple reads. It's in his scouting profile, honestly. All of the stuff that we're complaining about right now is all in his scouting profile coming out of the draft. So, you know, and that's the piece of it. That's the piece of it that I don't think will change. That's the piece of it that I do not think will change because I because of what happened against the New York Giants. Like it literally went back to step one, man. And he was still doing it. He was still doing these things throughout our winning streak, you know, against Denver, against the Saints, you know, and the games that we won. It just we were running the ball a lot more, so it became less, you know, it wasn't as far under the microscope as it had been. And so for that reason, because I haven't seen him improve in those areas, I've moved on. Like I can't see this guy being the long-term solution, being the franchise quarterback. My eyes have moved to Kenny Pickett. I'm gonna start tracking Kenny Pickett. I like Kenny Pickett a lot, so we'll see. We'll see. Birdman says, "I love Mailata and Dickerson together. Landon being out worries me. Did they actually rule him out? Is he actually going to be out for the game?" That worries me too, honestly. Yeah, it seems like it seems like our offensive line is starting to fall apart again. You know, Jack Driscoll was playing at a very high level. And then he went down for the season, which sucks. Like really sucks. Like after his rookie season last season, like I had a lot of faith in him because I knew that he played at least okay at multiple positions, like right tackle, right guard. Comes in, makes a lot of progress, and then becomes a great piece at right guard in place of Brandon Brooks, and then goes down for the season, which absolutely sucks. And now we're losing. And then, you know, Jason Kelsey, obviously, last couple weeks has been having some issues with his knee. Nate Herbig comes in, you know, has been playing horrible played horrible at center during his absence during those games. And then now we have Landon Dickerson might not go. You know, what are you going to do? It's scary. It's scary. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Yeah, that worries me too. You know, Washington's defensive line is still great. They're still great, regardless of the fact that like they may not have lived up to the hype this season. Their defensive line is still stout. Montez Sweat, his hype was supposed to be that of Chase Young. You know, I don't know if everybody remembers, but like he had that hype coming out of college and into the first round. Jonathan Allen, obviously, we know he leads that team with sacks from the defensive tackle spot. So, I mean, yeah, there's gonna be unless Jordan Mailata can start like one arming dudes, you know, both DT and the defensive end, you know, that would be great. But I don't know. Birdman says a lot of fans think we should wait a few years for Jalen to make those reads and throws, but I'm not sure I can wait that long. No. Yeah, here's the thing. I have a few things to say about that. Those comments about fans saying that you know, they're saying it in response to, you know, the people being upset about the fact that Jalen is being inconsistent and not making his reads and not not going through his progressions quick enough. Just watch. By this time next year, if Jalen gets to start next year, they're going to be the same exact people those people are going to be agreeing with us. The same exact people are going to say, let's get him the fuck out of here. Those are the same exact people. It's crazy to me. And because those are the same exact people that said, let's kick Carson to the fucking curb. I have a huge problem. Here's the thing. So obviously listening to Dan Sileo and obviously we got to start talking about this at some point, because after you traded the dude, that's who you got to compare the guy that you replace him with. And obviously we're talking about Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz here, right? So Carson Wentz is having a great season. I mean, he didn't have a good game. He didn't have a good game on Saturday, but he didn't have to pass the ball much. And now, and everybody wanted to kick him to the curb because he had no offensive line last year. And it's like, because he was horrible last year. And it's like, he had no offensive line. He had wide receivers that didn't know which way was fucking up. You know what I mean? And so now you want to give Jalen Hurts, who can't even tell what tomato soup looks like, a few years to be able to decide what tomato soup looks like? Like, no, come on. No. Here's the thing. Jalen Hurts has been playing quarterback since he was 5. Jalen Hurts has been a coach's son his entire life. Jalen Hurts has known his current QB's coach since he was about 5. Jalen Hurts should know how to go through his reads quicker. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. And the fact that he can't is mind-boggling to me. The fact that he couldn't in college and coming out of college, the fact that this wasn't addressed when it was the same exact words used for his scouting profile is mind-boggling to me. These are the same exact words that were used for his scouting profile. Is slow to make reads. Is slow to go through his progression. Will look to escape the pocket before he goes through it. Like, all of this stuff. It's crazy. But I can tell you right now, like, everybody, that's why I haven't made up my mind. Like, I'm not like everybody else about this quarterback draft class. Like, they're going to have so many other opportunities to improve their draft stock between now and the draft that I feel like they're not getting a fair shake. They're just not. They're not getting a fair shake. Like, if you go back and you look at Patrick Mahomes and you look at Justin Herbert, these guys weren't like surefire for like number 1 picks, number 2 overall pick. Like, they weren't. These were guys that had to improve their draft stock leading into the draft. And most of these guys coming into this draft class, whether they're average or not comparatively to the other quarterback draft class in the past or the future, they know how to throw the ball. They can throw the ball better. Their passing mechanics are better. And that's where I think it would improve. So, fans also say every game Jalen has shown progression, so that's why they're being optimistic. I disagree with that. So here's the thing. I disagree with that. I don't think that every game he's shown progression. I think that he had a pretty great game in Denver. He had a decent game. He had a decent game in New Orleans, and then I'm pretty sure it came down to the I'm pretty sure it came down to the New York Giants, and it was a shit show. There have been moments, yes, but then again, we're not asking him to throw a lot. We're not asking him to do a lot. We're not asking him to read a lot. We're not. We're running, and then we're setting, and then we're doing the play action and things like that. Like we're not like putting a lot on his plate. So I like. It looked like it was starting to get better. I'll agree with that. Like there was some progression. It looked like there was some progression being made throughout points of the season. But, when you take a giant step back like those throws were horrible against the Giants. I'm not trying to be so emphatic about that, but the decision making was so awful that I mean that interception right before the half kind of wraps up the entire thing. Like that should have never happened. Rookies don't even make that mistake. You get out. You throw the ball away. You get out of that. You get out of the first half with 3 points. I don't know. Birdman 951 says, I believe Landon is vaccinated, so there might be a chance. Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? Again, we'll see. Birdman says, they're putting his leadership ahead of his talent, I think. Well, he does make it. So that's the thing. He does make it hard. He does make it hard with his. He is. There's something very alluring about Jalen Hurts. I will agree. I will concede to that. There is something very alluring about Jalen Hurts as a player, as a person. And I think part of it is his leadership ability. He's very humble. Seems like a very good dude. But he would be Russell Wilson if he had everything else. If he had the ability to pass, it would be the comparison would be undeniable. It really would. Russell's a good dude. Russell's a humble dude. Russell's a good leader, So So I think it's crazy that Green Bay is the only team in the NFL that has locked up a playoff berth. They have also clinched their division. So kudos to Green Bay. I also wanted to bring up the Colts for a little bit because they are one game behind the Tennessee Titans in their division. And I don't want to make a big deal about this, but I did call the Colts beating the Patriots this week. It was in the group chat. End of the day at work, I was like, I've got the Colts beating the Patriots and handing them their first loss in a while. And so I was pretty excited about the fact that the Colts beat the Patriots. So I think that the Colts are going to go on a winning streak here, and I think that the Titans are going to lose a game, maybe a game or two, and I think the Colts are going to take their division. Things are going to look good for Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz going to go back to the playoffs as an Indianapolis Colt. So, what's crazy to me, though? The Arizona Cardinals losing to the Detroit Lions. Let's talk about it. Wow. Yeah, they have a lot of explaining to do. The Arizona Cardinals have a lot of explaining to do. So when you're a good team, you beat bad teams. When you're a good team, you beat good teams. You don't lose trap games like that. You don't let yourself be victim to a trap game. And lo and behold, the Arizona Cardinals let themselves be victim to a trap game against the Detroit Lions, and it was not pretty. So my my faith in them has dropped a little bit, and it led me to think about this for a second. So you're telling me that the two best teams in the NFC are led by two wily veterans at the quarterback position. And who am I talking about? Who am I talking about? Who could I possibly be talking about? Two of the best teams in the NFC are led by wily veterans at the quarterback position. I'm talking about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. I'm talking about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. You know what that means to me? You know what that means to me? In a year where no team has really broken apart from the pack, except for a few, the wily veterans are getting it done. It's all about consistency. It's all about consistency. And so that's why I think Tom Brady has an advantage. Aaron Rodgers for the Packers have an advantage. Birdman says Brady and Rodgers. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's an interesting thing to think about. It's an interesting thing to think about because it's like they in a season where nobody is really broken apart from the pack in either conference, except for a few, you know, they are the ones. They are the ones that have showed us the way. And now with the Cardinals lost to the Lions, now there's a little bit of doubt creeping in. But we know who the Buccaneers are. You know, we know who the Packers are. And lo and behold, both teams are led by Tom Brady. Or one team is led by Tom Brady, and the other team is led by Aaron Rodgers. Two quarterbacks who know what the fuck they're doing. So, my point is that, you know, it's the veteran leadership that's got these that's making the difference. It's the veteran leadership that's making the difference. So, but who will it be for the AFC? Who will it be for the AFC? Who knows? Who knows? See, that's the thing, is like, that's NFC, obviously. That's the NFC, obviously. And I think it will come down to those two teams in the NFC. Like, I think the Cardinals will be beat. I think the Cardinals will make a strong push, but I think that they will be beat. And that's okay. That's okay. I mean, the team is still young. They're still getting together. They still look great. Like all of the above. You know what I mean? But I think unfortunately, like, they're gonna run into these two veteran stalwarts at the quarterback position named Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, and it's just gonna be a veteran experience game that they're gonna run into. But yeah, that leads us to that. Who will it be for the AFC? Who will it be for the AFC? Because no real team is really pulling away. No real team is really pulling away, in my opinion. And I don't think it's going to be the Ravens. You know, and that's why I say I could totally see the Colts making a late push. And I think that would be really interesting. Obviously, there's the Patriots. We know that, you know. But the Colts just showed their mettle against the Patriots. So, Birdman says, can Cardinals respond by beating the Cowboys? Yeah, I think that they can. I think that the Cardinals certainly can respond by beating the Cowboys. I certainly hope that they do. That's the crazy thing too is it's just one of those things that I was thinking about, which is the Cowboys are only one game behind of possibly having a shot at home field advantage. No, obviously that title goes to the Packers as of right now. But, if the season were to end today, that would go to the Packers. But if the Packers lose a couple games, and the Cardinals lose a couple games or a game, and then the Cowboys win a couple, the Cowboys could be looking at home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So, but I hope that the Cardinals beat the Cowboys. I think it will be a good game. I think it will be a pretty good game. I think that they have to respond. They have to respond by beating a good team going into the playoffs. There's the thing too is you do not want to go into the playoffs with a lack of confidence. That's for damn sure. You do not want to go, especially as a young team like the Cardinals. Like you don't want to go into the playoffs with a lack of confidence. So I mean, them losing to Detroit doesn't help that matter. But them following it up with a defeat over the Cowboys would get them back on track. Both 10-4 teams. Get it done. It's that's two games in a row that they've lost. They lost to LA and they lost to Detroit. So I don't know what they've been putting in their Wheaties, but it has not been a winning formula lately. It has not been a winning formula lately. You know what I'm saying? But this playoff bracket this season is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. I'm interested to see who the 7th seed is gonna be. I think obviously, as we know, the Eagles have a shot. So even the Saints have a shot, for fuck's sake. The Vikings have a shot. The Washington football team has a shot. There's tons of teams that have shots. I think that speaking of which, the Vikings play tonight. So if we could get the Vikings play the Bears tonight, so if we can have the Bears beat the Vikings, that'd be great. That would be good for us. Any other teams that are tied with any other teams in the NFC, obviously, that are tied with us, any loss for them helps us. So, but I'm interested to see. Because, let's say it's the Eagles, for example, and I'm not ready to commit to that, obviously. How strong of a push could we make? Here's the thing too. It's like there are years where strictly rushing offenses can be a hard competitor. We see that in the Tennessee Titans pretty much every single year. And so obviously, we're more run heavy than we are pass heavy just because of the limitations of Jalen Hurts. And obviously in the cold months, that makes a big difference. So I'd be interested to see, what happens, how we do, if we get there, things of that nature, but we'll have to see. But I think keeping Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders healthy is certainly, especially Jordan Howard. You know, you know, what he was to this team when he was healthy was great. Was absolutely phenomenal, and he was just unstoppable. I absolutely loved it. So I'm so happy that we're going to be getting him back this week, and cannot wait to see him on the field again tomorrow. But again, this is DB talking now. DB talking Birds. DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. Birdman. Thank you so much for joining in, my man. And I might be back on later to do a double header after the Vikings and the Bears game. So stay tuned. One love, my dude. DB talking now. DB talking Birds. DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds, baby.